All right, so good first lesson there. So we were talking mostly about changing from one chord to the next, and then a little bit about rhythm as well, and just sort of for the moment keeping it simple until you're comfortable, and then this talking about rhythm. So keeping the rhythm nice and simple until you get to the point where you're physically and mentally more comfortable with it, so that you can sort of just start loosening up. And by the time you've got that basic way of doing the rhythm down, like we were talking about that we'll get into now, kind of always going down on the beats that you count. Once you're comfortable doing that, then it's much easier to kind of make it a little bit more complex, a bit more interesting, but in a way that's nice and intuitive and, not technical. It just sort of happens naturally. So we'll get into that now. So we'll do the strumming first, and then the chord business, and part two, I guess. So with Hallelujah, the thing about that one is that it's in 6/8 time, right? So all you really need to know about that is that it means there's six beats for every round, for every phrase, or every bar, as it's called. So we're going. If you just go down on the ones you count, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, okay, and then so if we just take C and A minor, so the rhythm is pretty much the same throughout the whole song. So we'll just use these two chords. So we're going 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And just keep that going down, 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 down. So as I say, I count, 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, same difference. But what's important is the the beats that you emphasize are 1 and 4. So you'd be going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Don't have, not to overdo it or anything, but those are the ones to kind of hang on to. Those are the kind of the pivotal ones, I suppose. So now beyond that, then, if you want to get it a bit a bit more complex, you're all by the fact that you're coming down and going down again. Obviously, you're coming back up in the meantime. So it's just a case of hitting it on the way up. Now, as I said, fingers sort of curved, in the way, nice and relaxed. There's no you don't want them stiff. Your sound will be a bit harsh then if you kind of dig in too harsh. So kind of all fairly limber, and then to come up, your thumb in my opinion anyway. There's other schools of thought on that as well. So again, whatever worked for you works, and go with that. But if you're not sure, a good way to do it is down with the fingers, and then that puts your thumb in a position where you can just flick it back up, and the two moves kind of just complement each other. Problem with coming up with your fingers, as I said, is that it tends to get stuck on the way back up. So with the 6/8 timing thing with Hallelujah, if we're going 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, then we could about as easily go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 5, and 6. So if you wanted to count it 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 5, and 6, 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 5, and 6. So, but where you put in the ups, as long as they're in between the downs, it doesn't matter which ones you hit and which ones you miss, because particularly in the group setting, there'll be a sort of an accumulative effect of everybody doing slightly different patterns, but everybody's singing off the same general sort of 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. So it all comes together, and it all kind of everyone complements everyone else, rather than kind of everything just contradicting everything else. So something like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Down, 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 down on the ones you count, and the ups come in between that. So I'd recommend slowing it down a little bit first. 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. 1, 2, and 3, and 2, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. 1, 2, and your hand should always be moving in a way that's regular, very regular motion. Down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. And all you have to do to not make it monotonous is just not hit all of them. So I'll leave it there for rhythm for now, and so let's talk about chords. So generally speaking, you designate a finger for each fret. Now, as we went into, there are obviously a lot of exceptions to that, but when you can, it's a good idea. So there's the C. Now, a lot of the time, maybe even most of the time, A minor is what comes next. So if I've got my middle finger hanging over there like that, then all I have to do, that goes down, middle, and third finger comes up. There's the A minor. First finger hanging over the first fret, this one, and we keep the A minor, the middle finger there on the second fret. There's F. Now with G, it's a little bit tricky because if you come in like this at a straight angle, that'll happen. And it's going to be difficult to kind of get your first finger up onto that second fret. So if you turn your hand this way a little bit, then you kind of see that the two fingers land on the same second fret a little bit more naturally. And to get there, if it's taken you a little while to get that G chord, then if whatever usually comes before the G chord, probably F generally, I would say just go from F to G, F, G, and just that little bit of a turn on your hand on the way over to the G like that. And just go back and forward on it. Because as I said, it's all about getting it from mental memory to muscle memory. Only way to do that is to do it loads and loads of times. So then we went, it's a cold and it's a cold and it's a broken. That bit there, so the E7. Okay, there's not much of a trick to it. Just keep the amount of movement your fingers do to a minimum. So for example, coming from F here, make sure your third finger isn't doing this. You know what I mean? So kind of curling up first, these two come in, and then it goes in. It should just go straight down, okay? Because, obviously taking it away and then putting it back on again is extra movement that you don't need. So try to kind of cut as much of that out of your playing as you can, because it'll all just accumulate into smoother chord transitions and just, better playing in general. So one more little example we did of that, of making the changes more efficient, is in Summer Over the Rainbow, we've got a C and then followed by an E minor. So normally we do the C with the third finger, and you still can. There's nothing to say you can't just do that. But I think it's much easier to do the C in that case with the first finger. You can have it hanging over here already, just not, you don't want that either. So you just want it hanging over, knock it back, those two go down, there's E minor. Then it's F after that, I think, which is easy enough. You just hop these two up, and there it is. Okay, so the main thing is keep the rhythm really steady. Keep your strumming patterns as simple as possible. What matters most of all is that the rhythm just chugs along. It doesn't matter how flowery and sort of interesting it is. Just regular. Keep it going. Just down, down, down on the ones that you count, and just go from chord to chord to chord to chord. Every now and then, do it one string at a time. Check to make sure that they're coming out properly. But the main thing is just, change from one chord to the next. Doesn't, once you've got to grips with, C, F, C, A minor, F, G, that kind of thing, throw a D in there, A major, get those other chords, but just changing from one chord to the next over and over and over again. And that's how you get there. And as I said, you'll be amazed at how quickly the progress, really starts to take off after a certain point. All right, I'll see you Monday.